so it looks like we're about to have Bakugo versus Deku Part 3 with an assist from the rest of the kids in 1A. Because we all know if there's any way to get through to a shonen protagonist, it's to beat some sense into him. Welcome back, guys, and of course, today we're talking about My Hero Academia, chapter 319, Friend. It's cool, we get to start this chapter off with a nice color page. I'm not surprised to find out that Bakugo ripped up Deku's little note to him. It's hilarious, super in character for me. Now we get to see that aftermath with Deku leaving the notes, or as they figured out, he had All Might leave the notes for him since he wanted to stay far away from UA. But none of them are taking it well, as I thought, and they're kind of trying to piece the puzzle together. Like, okay, where is he, or how can he find them? And between Bakugo, Todoroki, and Tokoyami, they all figure out that the top three heroes, they're kind of all shut them out. They're not answering any of their calls. And of course, they're going to be a little bit busy given the certain times, but also, why wouldn't they just check in? Even Endeavor accepted Todoroki's offer to help him stop Toya. But now, all of a sudden, they're being cold and distant. So the kids figure out, listen, they're pushing us away, probably because they're working with Deku. Deku wants to stay far away from UA, so that only gives us one choice. We got to go to him. And Odoraka, she's like, listen, if we bring this issue to the principal, we can kind of force a face-to-face because it's only fair. Like, he can't be out there by himself. And lots of the kids agree, and the principal actually agrees with them too and sets Endeavor up basically, because the kids, they just ambush him and they have this sort of confrontational moment where Endeavor's being like super protective, saying, listen, the world is different. It's not the way it was when you first started being hero. It's literally life and death out here. And just because you were a kid, it does not mean some of these crazy villains will hesitate in killing you. There's so many people escape from prison. There's so many more people emboldened to be villains. It's chaos right now, and we just need to keep you guys safe in the school. But of course, the kids, they're not trying to hear that. They're like, you can't say that to us and then allow Deku to just run around being a vigilante. That's not fair. If you're going to be that way, you need to be that way with all of us, because we're all qualified to be heroes. Let us go out and help you guys, especially since there's no more pro heroes. And they kind of just reach this stalemate where Endeavor basically just ends up dropping his phone, and they realize, oh, okay, his phone has GPS. This is how we can find Deku. You can see that the energy is the same for most of the kids in 1A, and even Koda, he's stepping up and speaking, given how shy he is about the situation. So, of course, I'm glad to see Class 1A, they're all becoming, just that one unit that they are, and they're like, all right, we need to go find and stop Deku and, basically talk/beat some sense into him, which is where the chapter leads us. Because, of course, last chapter, after Bakugo stops the dictator, the other kids, they're not far behind him, and they all kind of confront Deku. Of course, he's just trying to get out of this situation as quickly as he can. He's afraid now because of the threat from All For One, and he doesn't want any of his friends to get hurt. So he's, he has that, he's operating out of a sense of fear. So Bakugo calls him out on it. He's like, hey, I don't see you smiling. Because, of course, Deku, he's just trying to say, hey, I'm fine. You guys go back to school. I'm good. And I kind of just like how earlier it just shows how close Deku and Bakugo actually are, because when he's talking to the principal and the other students, he's like, listen, I know exactly the type of person he is. He's going to put the entire world before himself at the cost of himself. It's what he's always done, and it's what he's always going to do. And him having All Might for a teacher is only going to make that worse, because All Might did the same thing. So All Might's going to enable him until basically eventually Deku cut him off because he didn't want All Might to get hurt. So Bakugo really has like the complete sense of like the situation that Deku's in and how he's operating out of fear. I like how Horikoshi is basically shown just how like close these children have gotten together. And even like there was like 2 different moments in this chapter where you see when you see Bakugo, he actually puts his arm on Todoroki's shoulder. Like, he gives him like a nice, like in a comforting gesture, not even like out of anger or spite. And that's nice to see, knowing how funny both Bakugo and Todoroki are about being touched. And then at the end of the chapter, you have Ida, and he actually has his arm on Bakugo's back before they're about to have this basically fight with Deku to make him, hear them out and consider their feelings above his. And I'm pretty sure in the next chapter, we're going to have this end where, they're all fighting through their emotions because it's what they do. And Bakugo basically getting through to Deku saying, listen, it's okay to be afraid. And Deku, he's probably also feeling really guilty just because of what happened during the raid with Bakugo, when Bakugo saved his life and got punctured through his stomach. And of course, Bakugo is going to tell him, listen, idiot, I made that choice. It's not about you. Shut up. Like, stop trying to be an All Might wannabe, and you can't save the world by yourself. So I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of tears, and hopefully at the end of it, smiles. Something cool that I would like to see next chapter, though, because we still know that All Might and Stain, they haven't had whatever confrontation they were going to have since since Stain was waiting in the shadows while Deku abandoned All Might. So if we were to see like both of these like conversations and conflicts play out, simultaneously throughout the chapter, I think that would be pretty cool. A lot of people would like to see that too, rather than something obvious like having All For One send some villain to attack the kids while they're having this conversation. So, that's just my thoughts on the chapter. And I just want to say thanks to you guys, because I appreciate the likes, the comments, and you guys basically just taking the time out to watch my videos with me, listen to my input. And I'm glad building my fan base starts with you. So I appreciate it all. I'm going to see y'all later. Peace.